Hey there, YouTube world. Welcome to another episode of Mods, Maintenance, and Rides. I know it's been a long time, so I do apologize for that. Life happens, we get busy, and I just haven't been able to produce a lot of content lately. Have done a lot of riding. I've got over 6,600 miles on the engine rebuild. Well, not rebuild, but upgrades to the 110. And she's running really good. Did a nice long trip a couple weeks ago out to Western North Carolina, and man, it's just with that 110 and those 777s, this bike just hauls the mail. It's such a blast to ride. So it's a 2010 Street Glide. I bought it brand new and have been modifying it ever since. So I just wanted to go over a couple of issues that a lot of folks have had. One is the heat that radiates from the engine, and the other issue that a lot of folks are having is the buffeting. So we're going to take a look at both of those issues, and some things work for some people and not others, and some things work for me and other things didn't. So I just wanted to address those, and so you can see what I did to my motorcycle to reduce the heat and to reduce the buffeting. So one way you reduce the heat, one way you don't reduce the heat is by adding a 110 kit from S&S, the Sidewinder kit. That will increase the heat. It'll increase your oil temperature. My oil temperature got up to 230 and above, so I needed to address the heat at the engine and then also address the heat on the right hand side. If you go to DK Customs, they have a lot of helpful hints or mods, cheap mods, free mods that you can do to your motorcycle that will help reduce the heat. So I recommend them. They've got a lot of knowledge, and it's a good place to start when you want to reduce the heat as far as taking some of their advice. So to cool down the engine, or the engine oil, I went with the Jag oil cooler, and it has a fan mounted on the back of it. It comes with all of the hardware you need. Right there's the part number, and it has a thermostat on it, so when your oil reaches a certain temperature, the fan kicks on and tries to cool your oil down. Since I installed this, I think only once or twice did I get oil temperatures up to 230. I generally run right around 220 all the time, and so it has done a great job at getting the engine cooled down, or the engine oil cooled down, consequently keeping the engine cooler. And it just mounts in place of the one. When I first bought the motorcycle, I put a Harley Davidson oil cooler on it. So we're going to just, and I removed the Harley Davidson oil cooler and installed the Jag. Go around the side here, and you can see the fan in there or not. And it does a great job. So the other thing I did was I installed these lowers. And if you look at the lower on this side, you can see right here I trimmed off the edge, so when you open it, you only have a little bit sticking out, and I trimmed that edge off. So what that does is, even with it closed, it allows some air to get down through here onto the header pipe and cool the head pipe. Also down lower, this area here was blocked off, so I opened this up on the lower, just took this section out. It allows air to come down through here and hit the head pipe as well. and cools down the head pipe as you're traveling anyways. On the other side, I just left it, oops. On the other side, I just left it completely stock. So you have this additional lip here. But even with the section that I took off, I took off this section here. Even by taking that off, you still get plenty of protection during rain and things of that nature. Also from DK Customs, after I did the 110 kit, I purchased DK Customs oil vent drain, so it doesn't drain the oil. The oil that's venting off the heads doesn't go back into the air filter and into the throttle body. It drains down into this tube here and then goes down underneath the motorcycle. And then I just did the filter instead of the canister. So I don't know if you can see this or not. There's the filter. So the oil, this catches the oil, and then the oil just vents out through the bottom right there. So the other issue is head buffeting. When you're going down the road, especially on highway speeds, on interstates, you'll feel air come up from underneath the tank and it kind of hits you in waves. And these waves kind of just like hit your goggles and your helmet, and they cause your goggles to go up and down, and it can be quite a nuisance. So in order to rectify that, I tried a bunch of different stuff, and I'm going to show you the solutions that that I came up with. So one of the first things I did was I purchased the Clockworks flare windshield. So as the air comes up, it kicks straight up in the air right here, and that kind of throws the air over top of you instead of it hitting right on your helmet or right on your goggles. So that helped quite a bit. The second thing I did was I added the Harley-Davidson adjustable fairings, deflectors, air deflectors. So they open up, so if you need more air at slower speeds, you can open that up, and then air comes in here and kind of kicks right up toward you, so to keep you cool when it's really hot outside. And so I work on aircraft for a living, or I manage aircraft now, and that has been my career path, is working on airplanes. And on aircraft, they put vortex generators to control the airflow over wings, over flaps, over the ailerons. And so I adapted that technology, or a portion of it, to see if it would help with the airflow on the motorcycle. So initially I put these two strips here, and they're just mounted with 3M tape, and it's just got a little ledge. And so when the air comes back here, it hits that ledge, and instead of sliding off this way, it kind of channels it up and around the rider. The second thing I did was I manufactured 3 vortex generators right here, and a 4th one down here to capture the air, or not capture the air, but deflect the air. So when the air comes and it hits these vortex generators, it kind of pushes the air out to the left and to the right on the other side, or I guess this is the right side, so it pushes the air out to the right and out to the left on the other side. And this other vortex generator, this one, it deflects air and pushes it directly into the engine, or directly toward the cylinder head. And I did that on both sides. That seemed to make quite a bit of difference. These are a little bit small, and I gapped them too much on the bottom right here. So I have some new material that's a little bit bigger. So I'm going to manufacture 6 more and just replace those 3 on the top of both lower fairings. So this is the new material, and so it's just a little bigger. You can see it's not a huge difference, but it's going to help tremendously. And I'm going to seal off this area, or this gap down here at the bottom, so that the air is not going underneath there. It'll just that'll be all the way down to the top of the fairing right there. So then as the air comes, like I say, it hits these and pushes the air out. It cleans the air, so it doesn't remove all of the air, but it does clean it. So what I mean by that is you don't get the buffeting, because the air is disrupted at that point, and that disruption makes the air smoother. And so when when you are feeling the air coming up from the bottom, it's minimal and it's cleaner. So you don't have the buffeting that you would have otherwise. And like I say, it's worked really well for me, and I'm just going to manufacture some new ones and put those on there and see if that doesn't do the trick completely. So, and then you can see the other strip over here that's mounted to the adjustable fairing. So one of the things from DK Customs that I learned from their website was, as the air's flowing back here on the rear cylinder and you have these mid-frame deflectors, this one acts as a scoop, catching that air and pushing it to the right-hand side. If you have this fairing on both sides, it channels it down and toward the battery and makes the rider's seat get a lot warmer. I mean, it just gets pretty hot when you have both air deflectors on. So DK Customs said to remove this one on the other side. So as the air is captured on that side and it pushes out this side with no mid-frame deflector here, it allows the air to exit, and you feel less heat on the seat, and it feels a lot better. I did it that way, and it made a big difference for me. So there you have it. That's what I did to my motorcycle to reduce the heat, and also to reduce the buffeting. You got to try a bunch of different things and just see what works for you. So I hope that was helpful. If you have any questions, be sure to leave a comment down below and I'll try to answer those. Or if you have any tips or tricks that you think might benefit everybody, feel free to leave those in the comments section as well. I hope you all are having a great day and ride safe. Oh, and be sure to tune in next time for Mods, Maintenance, and Rides. Have a great day.